All right, friends, probably many of you, if not all of you, by this time probably have seen a video of a young Christian street preacher being detained by police in Wisconsin last week. It went viral. The arrest happened quickly. It happened without warning. It was during a pride event that was headlined by drag queens. It was done in front of children. Well, what led to the arrest? What all happened? Where is it all now? Joining me now to discuss this himself is that street preacher, Marcus Shroeder, who is part of the ministry Warriors for Christ. Marcus, welcome to Washington Watch.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's our pleasure to have you. And first of all, let me just say thank you for your courageousness, your willingness to stand in behalf not only of yourself, but for the entire nation and for the First Amendment and religious liberties. Thank you for that. So before we get into the arrest itself, tell us what you were watching at this Pride event and why you decided to go in the first place.
Yeah, my group will go out to many different events like this, but at this specific event, they were doing a drag queen story hour. They did that in the morning for probably, I'd say, 15, 20 minutes, but then the afternoon, they have two dance hours. So it's like a children's dance hour with the drag queens. And so that's what they did in the afternoon. And so it was literally grown men dressed as women in lingerie. Some of them in lingerie. The children were even giving dollar bills to the drag queens. They were dancing with the drag queens as the drag queens did sexually suggestive dances in front of 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids. And so they did two of these dance hours. The first dance hour was I forget the exact time, but probably right around 1 o'clock. And then they had a second dance hour later, which is when I was arrested. I was arrested, I think, right before they were about to start their second dance hour, something somewhere around those lines.
Okay, so let's talk about the arrest itself. What happened? What were you doing that the police officers said was the reason for the arrest? Tell us about what was taking place and what happened.
What's funny is they didn't actually give me much of a reason for arrest. As you see in the video, they don't talk to me much. The beginning of the video, that video that's been played all over Instagram and social media and things like that, the very beginning of that video is the beginning of me using the amplification. So that video is the entire footage of me preaching and our entire interaction with the police. So as you see in that video, the police didn't give me any warning beforehand. He just comes up, grabs the mic from my hand. We're trying to ask him, is there a code that we're violating? You told us, like he had told us before, that we could protest at the fence. They had never mentioned anything about us not having amplification. So that's what we were trying to ask him. And then all of a sudden, a cop from behind me grabs my other arm. They handcuff me, and they detained me for about an hour or two. And then they eventually charged me with amplification without a permit and resisting arrest. And the officer who was walking me off, like right about now in the video, I was asking that officer who handcuffed me why I was being arrested, what I was being charged with. He said resisting arrest. I said, how am I being charged with resisting arrest? Because as you see in the video, I didn't resist arrest. And so he said my muscles tensed up, which obviously in the video, he grabs my arm from behind without me expecting it. There was no warning beforehand. I had no idea that I was about to be arrested. I was kind of focusing on the officer in front of me. So he grabs my arm from behind. So any tensing of my muscles was like a natural reflex from surprise. And that's what they charged me with.
Yeah, anyone would do that when you don't see it coming. You're not aware of what's happening. That's so unbelievable that this is happening. So you went to the police station, law enforcement, and what happened there? Were you given any further information?
They printed off for me. The officer who actually booked me at the station, he was nice, but he printed off for me the different citations and the specific codes that I was being charged with. And so that is those two codes. That's essentially what happened. We talked a bit, but there wasn't much more. One other thing actually that they did give me at the station was essentially a warning that for the next 2 weeks, if I go on any Watertown public parks, that I will be arrested on the spot and charged with state fine. So essentially, I'm banned from all Watertown public parks for the next 2 weeks. And
Why? Did they give a reason?
they didn't give a reason. No, I think that the the rationale that they started to say was, disrupting the event, which if you see the video, I'm not sure if in that specific video it shows how far away I was from the actual drag queen event, but I think there might be a different angle that might show kind of where I was in relation to the drag queen event. I was quite a ways away. There was a whole field in between me and where they were hosting the dance hour, and the amplification was not turned up very loud. So it wasn't like they could hear me, but it wasn't a major disruption, and it was on a public sidewalk, and so we have the right to free speech for that. So, yeah,
Wow.
they,
So
they,
what
they
has happened since the arrest? What have you experienced since this happened?
yeah, I guess with that actual city, I went Tuesday. So Saturday, I was arrested. Tuesday night, I went before the city and testified before their city council. So the chief of police were there. A few officers that I had recognized from them being there Saturday were there. The actual officers in the video were not there, but I testified before the city council, kind of talked about this, and now I've had several law firms reach out. I'm contemplating, which one to go with, and from there we'll decide where exactly we take this legally. But our main goal is to use the story, use this opportunity we have legally, not just to go after the officers or anything like that. That's not what I want to do. I'm not in this so I can make any money from a lawsuit. What I want to do is make sure that next year they don't have the drag queen story hour. So anything that we can do to influence the city to say we're not going to allow grown men to do sexual performances for children in our city anymore. If that's what comes out of this, then that's our greatest hope and desire.
Marcus, thank you for standing. In 10, 15 seconds is all we have left. What encouragement would you give to our viewers and listeners?
Just be faithful. Be faithful in doing ministry and speaking the truth, and that's what God will bless.
Marcus Shroeder, thank you so much for taking a stand, for taking a hit for all of us, and we're all behind you, praying for you and praying that this turns out in a God kind of way. Thank you for joining us on Washington Watch.
Thank you. I appreciate it.